Welcome back to the Market Wolf. I am the Market Wolf, and this is the first lesson in a video series on how to trade the stock market. And we are going to go over the basics today. The first thing I would like for you to do is open up a trading account on TradingView, tradingview.com, and then you simply click on the chart button to get started. When you get on your account, and you're on the charts, in this tab right here you can click and you can choose to search for whatever market you're looking for. Please look first for Bitcoin, USDT. You could also do Tether. That would probably be better for Bitcoin. But I simply want you to start with this concept, this basic concept. And that is the concept of expansion and contraction. So, the market has expanded here. It contracts here. It expands here. It contracts here. It's like breathing. Again, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. And think about this simple question. Where should you buy? In what area do you want to buy? Obviously, you would probably want to buy within a contraction zone and waiting for that expansion so you can make profit. You do not want to buy in an expansion zone that leads to immediate contraction, and you don't want to buy in a contraction zone that is going to lead to an expansion to the downside. Now, let's take a look at what the market is trying to do. Why all of the expansion and contraction? Well, here, what you're looking at is simply the USD-CUSD. This is a stable coin. This is a coin you can switch to from other cryptocurrencies, so you have something that is worth $1 and remains stable. And you can see how the market maintains equilibrium. We have a spike up sometimes because of previous spikes down, but they equal out and then we go back to equilibrium. That's what the market is always trying to accomplish. So when you're trading and you see major areas of expansion and then contraction, you're seeing the market attempting to reach equilibrium. Now, on TradingView, bring up the S&P 500 under SPY. And we can take a look at some of the basic tools that you can use to do this yourself. You are going to create this chart yourself to help you in your learning process. And you can print it off and refer back to it. Simply take a screenshot in this video. I want to tie in my martial arts background because it fits in quite nicely with this. So I want to call this idea Siu Nim Tao, just like in Wing Chun. Although Siu Nim Tao roughly translates as the little idea, what does that actually mean? When we break down the first word, Siu, we can translate it a few different ways as little, small, young, simple, or even seed. And I would say this is the seed of the idea for all of your trading strategies. And when we look into the word Nim, we can translate it to mean idea, thought, imagination, mind, or intent. Another way we can look at the translation of Siu Nim Tao can be simple intent. This lends to the idea of small intentional habits practiced daily create big changes in the long haul. In other words, little everyday decisions create success. And I have to thank Sifu Adam Willis for that interpretation of Siu Nim Tao. Siu Nim Tao simply means the little idea. And really what's wrapped up in the little idea, though, is everything about the art. Just like Wing Chun, this fighting art, is the same in the market. This market structure, this basic market structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, is all you need to know to really understand the market. You need to know price action, and one nice indicator to have is volume on top of that. But if you understand this is the beginning of success for you. And you have to have the basics down first. So, accumulation, cause. This is the cause. This is contraction. Remember, the market expands and it contracts. Here is where your institutional money is buying, right? That's institutions. Then we have expansion. That expansion is number 2. That's the markup. That's the effect. The cause, when you have a lot of buying in an accumulation phase, that leads to the stock becoming more valuable. And we have the markup effect. Now, typically, and unfortunately, this is where retail, the normal trader, starts to buy in. Then we have the distribution phase, number 3, or we have another cause, right? So now we have this distribution phase. And of course, as a trader, you want to try to buy accumulation with the institutions, and you want to sell close to the top. And in the distribution phase, of course, the institutions will be selling throughout distribution. And you can see we have smaller, you could say, oh, well, that's an area of accumulation. Yes, perhaps a small rise, but we're really just back testing to see if this move up is something acceptable. And the market says, we'll test it. Yeah, probably. We'll test it again. Yeah, we think so. We'll go a little higher, right? But then we get to, after distribution, we get to the number 4, markdown, which is the effect. And eventually, we get the sell-off, right? But look what happens next. We go back to accumulation. And it correlates quite nicely with where the former accumulation phase took place. So, number 1, accumulation. Number 2, markup. Number 3, distribution. Number 4, markdown, right? So, the market is searching for equilibrium. The market, made up of people, is trying to decide what is the S&P 500 really worth at this moment in time. And it's looking for that same type of stability that we see on the stable coin that I showed you here. So, the basic idea is expansion and contraction. Now, one thing I'd talk about is this idea of imagination. Imagination. Because when you're identifying these areas of a market, and then you get to a point to where you're ready to trade, you have to be able to see. And I'm using the S&P 500, so you can go back to my other episodes, and that's why some of this is marked off. I removed some of my lines, not to confuse you, but we're just looking at price. And you can go to my other episodes I think 1 through 10, and you will see, I believe, from right about here perhaps is when I started making videos. And you can see how I called the market, and I did. You can watch the shorter video where I called all of this. And now we're here at this point. We have to decide what is going to happen next. This is where imagination comes in. We had accumulation, markup, distribution, and mark down. A brief accumulation, and it's tough to tell here. Like, the market was trying to make a decision. What are we doing here? Where are we going? Right? So we get this accumulation phase here. This accumulation phase was brief. This distribution phase was brief. This mark down was brief. We go back to accumulation, right? Roughly, almost at these same previous levels. Not quite. Those are the highs. Then we get the markup. And we have very little time for distribution. And we get the mark down. And so if we're having the mark down right here, the next logical question is, will we continue to mark down? How far will we mark down? How far could we go? Then, of course, after we finish the mark down phase, however far that might be, we will go back into a period. After, see, look here, mark down, we'll find an area of accumulation, and then we'll go back up into the markup phase. So this is where imagination comes in, and you have to imagine, especially within distribution, you have to imagine where is price going to go next. You have multiple indicators that can help you with that, but really, this is the basis of everything you need to know. We'll get into all of that next episode. What I would encourage you to do is take lesson 1. Think about the things I've spoken about here. Go to the S&P 500 and study this, and then find some place to map out on your own and find accumulation, markup, distribution, and mark down. This is going to be the basis for everything we learn. This is Sunim Tao, and it is the most important thing you will learn. That about wraps it up for lesson 1. I hope to see you next time on lesson 2. Please check out my other videos so you can see how I call the market point to point. And I appreciate you being here. Please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. We'll see you next time on The Market Wolf.